I had told him where she worked and he went in the next day and made a point to stop and chat with her. Truly a class act. Who is the nicest celebrity you have met? I really hate to admit this, and if you tell anyone else I'll deny it. But one of the coolest things was when the lead singer of Nickelback came off stage after encore and thanked us for doing what we do. Because he couldn't do what he does without us. It was just real genuine interaction and took us all off guard. No interaction sticks out more than that. People are people and they have good days and bad days. Tour life is hard for everyone involved. Some handle it better than others. The entertainers that are notoriously not easy to work with are known, and you do your best to do your job, and get some sleep. Most are pretty chill. Respect is a two-way street. I used to see famous people in NYC when I lived there in my 20s. I made a point to use the chin nod all the time. I would never, ever say a word to them. That's until I saw Sean Penn piss on a fire hydrant and I had to yell out, "Nice dick." At least I think it was him. The group I was in seemed to agree. Dave Chappelle and his family live a few miles from where I went to college, and he and I frequented the same Starbucks. I ran into him about 10 times. One day he sat with me for about 45 minutes and talked about screenwriting. It was amazing. He's as down to earth as his stage persona suggests, and it's no wonder he opted to raise his family away from LA. My aunt met Steven Tyler and said he was super chill. Except she had no idea who he was, and he was just some guy who bought a lot of the musical instruments she was selling at a charity event. She posted a video of the two of them singing together on Facebook, and made a comment about how she was happy that this nice musician was making enough money to live off of. I had her go look up Aerosmith videos and she was shocked it was the same guy. Danny DeVito. I ended up at a hotel bar in Philly with this girl I was hanging out with and her friend. Turns out the cast of Always Sunny was filming the 10th-ish season and staying at the hotel and hanging out downstairs. So girlfriend flags down Danny as he's walking by, and he ends up sitting with us for a solid 2 hours. Buys us a couple rounds. And tries to invite the girl up to his hotel room. A weird turn, but he also introduced us to Charlie Day, so I'm calling it a win. Having met Hugh Laurie in person, I can confidently state that he is one of the nicest and most humble celebrities out there. Not only is he completely happy to interact with his fans, but he also does so in a way that makes each and every one of them feel like they're a friend. He remembers names and personal details with amazing accuracy, and he makes each conversation seem like it's an extension of a treasured and ongoing dialogue. Add to that the fact that the man is outwardly hilarious, and you've got a recipe for a genuinely great guy. Peter Dinklage and I had a funny encounter. We were both at a coffee shop in the Bowery at like 6:30 a.m. We were the only ones there. He'd ordered a fancy drink of some sort, so had to stand there and wait. I ordered a filter, but it was a long process, pour over type thing. So he and I stood there next to each other for 3 to 4 minutes. It was awkward because I don't really talk to celebrities, public figures. But at the same time it was weird because it was just the two of us and it was obvious I knew who he was. In the end I gave him the chin nod. He winked and gave me the chin nod. That cleared the air and we were able to get on with our day. I didn't actually meet him, but Tracy Morgan bought my younger sister an iPhone many years ago. Hers broke, and his GF, now wife, at the time lost her phone at the Super Bowl or something, so that's why he was at the same Verizon store. The Verizon employee said my sister's damage wasn't covered under insurance and my mom couldn't afford to buy her a new phone, and my sister I guess clearly got emotional. Because Tracy Morgan, who had been talking to my mom for a bit before while they were waiting, bought the phone for her. My mom tried to say no, but he said to just pay it forward. My mom and sister had no idea who he was until my dad came in and recognized him. Stan Lee. He was my neighbor for a while, and he directly wrote me letters which I now have framed on my wall. Tom Brady wasn't great, Steven Tyler was really cool and chill, but Stan Lee was the best by far. The only celebrity I've ever met is Bill Murray. He made a joke I didn't get at the time and gave me wrong directions to the Asia exhibit inside the Dallas Museum of Art. I asked him if he knew how to get to the Asia exhibit because I was lost. His reply was something like, "Well, I don't ever know where I'm going from one moment to the next, but I'd wager it's back that way." It was just a self-deprecating joke about his bad sense of direction, but I was too surprised to be talking to Bill Murray to get it until way later. Lol. 10 out of 10 would ask Bill Murray for directions again. Scarlett Johansson back in 2011 at a Starbucks. Super sweet and really bubbly. Thought she would come across as a bitch or standoffish, partly because it was early in the morning, like 5:30 to 6 a.m. Not at all, she was so nice. Made her laugh after I told her I was a huge fan of one of her earliest films, Home Alone 3, which really is one of my favorite childhood movies. She just had this charming aura about her. Colin Firth, I saw him sitting in a cafe with his son. Extremely nice. I waited until they got up to leave before I went and asked if I could get an autograph for my mom, who's a huge fan. He asked me a few questions about her and wrote a quite nice autograph for her. He asked if I wanted one as well, and I told him that meeting him was more than enough. I had told him where she worked and he went in the next day and made a point to stop and chat with her. Truly a class act. Met Weird Al at a film screening a few years ago. I've been a fan of his since I was 8 and he's legitimately an influence in my own music and comedy. I saw him when I sat down, which happened to be right in front of him. I heard him introduce himself to some older ladies who had sat next to him, just very genuine, like, "Hi, I'm Al." I turned around and said hello, said I had just seen a show at the Greek and said it was great, and said this is a great moment of my life. He cracked a joke and said something like, "Well, I guess your life hasn't been that awesome." Or something like that. We took a selfie and shook hands and it was awesome. Like and subscribe for more r/ask Reddit videos.